Hi, my name is Manuela Sanches. I work for Enlink. It's a Brazilian agency focused on link building and content creation. And I'm here with Todd Malicoat. He works with SEO for Market Motive, and he's here at Search Labs, and we're going to just talk about SEO and link building. Would you say that link building is the most important aspect of SEO today? And would you worry more about SEO on page or off page?
Yeah, so I think link building is the most important thing for a new site, absolutely, without question. You can't do on-page SEO unless you have link equity, unless you have some kind of global link profile. You really can't do on-page SEO. You can build everything the right way, but it's not going to do you any good. Now, if you're UOL or if you're a large, big brand that has all kinds of link equity, on-page optimization can go a long ways. But it really depends on the circumstance. If you have a brand new site, you have to do link building. If you have a big established brand, on-page optimization can go a long way, but you still need to do link building. So I guess the answer is both.
Okay.
That's fair.
Both.
Yes.
But you said first.
But in certain circumstances for each, yes.
Okay. And then talking a little bit more about link building, if you only had one link that you could choose and then analyzing the website where you're going to request that link. And then your two options are, one is one with really good content, but it's off topic to your client, but it's high quality website. And then on the other hand, you have this small blog that is just about your niche, but it doesn't have such good metrics as the other one. Which one would you choose to put a link on?
Ultimately, I think if you don't have a lot of on-topic links, then it makes sense that you need some on-topic links. You need, I always talk about having a balanced link profile, and that means there's all these different types of links. I actually have a presentation built on 12 different link types. So there's directory links, there's reciprocal links, there's authority links, there's newspaper links. There's a whole laundry list of different types of links. And links from very on-topic sites are really important. So if you do a search for, let's say, web hosting, and with web hosting, you have links from any of the top 1,000 sites in that search result, that I would consider links from within the local set for that specific search query. So you have to have some links within that local set from other sites that are in that top 1,000 search results. You absolutely have to have some of those. But then at a certain point, you also need global link popularity. So it's kind of each link is hitting on two different variable areas of the algorithm. So one being global link popularity with the kind of more off-topic site, you're probably going to get a little bit more global link popularity and just raw link juice, to think of it that way. And then with the on-topic link, you're going to get one from the local set, and you're going to get one that's very relevant, and you need some of that mix as well. So
let's talk about link baiting hooks, that it's
Yes.
about this and news and giving your opinion about different subjects.
Yep. So I think Nick Wilson at ThreadWatch originally came up with some of the link baiting hooks, as they're called, and there's 7 or 8 or 10 that you could break it down into and categorize. News, being a contrarian, just arguing with what everybody says, or being a resource. Ego hook would be like if I give you an award and then say, here, you've won this award, can you, and I wouldn't ask for the link back, but if you gave me an award, I would probably be excited about it and give a link back to UOL or whomever. So that would be kind of along the ego hook lines. What else is there? Attack hook. I could just say mean things about people and that sort of thing. But I think when you combine those hooks is when you really start to get effective link baiting. My favorites are probably the resource hook. Just being a resource is the way that's going to attract the most links. If I'm just attacking people all the time, sooner or later people are going to catch on to that and they're going to be like, we're not linking to this guy. And that's just not going to work after a while. But being a resource, everybody's always going to appreciate that. If you combine that with awards and kind of the ego hook that way, that seems to be the most effective. So.
Okay. Is there a benefit in automating the link acquisition process?
I think you can automate to a certain point. So there is definitely benefit in it. If you're just doing everything manual, you're going to create a lot of work for yourself that you don't necessarily need to do. I think originally doing the discovery and finding sites to reach out for, a lot of that can be automated. I also think you have to write personalized emails. Now, I don't think you can automate a lot of the email process. Some of it certainly you can, but at a certain point you have to have a dialogue with another webmaster, and you can't just do that by saying "dear insert name here" and expect that people are actually going to respond to that. So I think you can automate to a certain extent. I like to say semi-automate. You know, you can semi-automate to a certain extent, and then you really have to have somebody answering emails there and responding and being a human being if you expect to get any kind of links from decent sites.
And about these tools to automate, do you develop, like does your team develop any kind of tool, or do you use paid ones, the ones that already exist?
I've always used paid ones myself. I've always been too lazy to develop my own, unfortunately, and programmers are the bane of my existence, unfortunately, and I'm not a programmer myself, so I can't criticize a programmer too much. But I never really developed real automated systems. I've worked on helping create some. WeBuildPages has some semi-automated systems that they've put in place over the past decade or so, and it definitely can be done. It's not an easy process, though. There are tools to manage some of it. Raven Tools is an excellent one. BuzzStream is another one that's very good. And I'm sure there's some other ones out there that I'm just not thinking of at the moment. Solo SEO is kind of like a full suite of tools for solo SEOs, I suppose. And that's a good tool set. But traditionally, I've just used paid tools to kind of manage my link building. Yeah.
And like, would you give any suggestions to us Brazilians, because all of those tools, they are usually directed to the American market.
Sure.
So they all do searches on google.com and all the queries and everything is all in English.
Sure.
So what would you recommend for Brazilians and for people from other countries as well?
I think the great part of that is there's still an opportunity for one, somebody to create those tools, and two, to be on the forefront. Once all those tools are in place, the barrier to entry rises very quickly because everybody has that information, everybody has that data. So it's kind of this scramble for everybody to go get those same links. It's almost a competitive advantage to know these things and know how to do it without having access to those tools. You still are kind of leading the curve and are on the bleeding edge. So I guess my advice would be, don't be in too big a hurry for everybody to have that, because you already have the information and the knowledge about link building, and you can go a long ways with that. And then a lot of times why I haven't built tools is because people had custom ones, and I just had access to people's custom tools, and those were more beneficial than paid tools, or than doing it completely manual. But yeah, I guess no real great advice. Wait for the data, and aside from that, writing your own tools is really about the only other option at this point, I think. So there's none that I'm aware of that have real good international presence in terms of search tools, unfortunately.
So what do you think about paid links, and do you think it works?
Yes. I try to avoid this debate anymore. Actually, at one point in 2007, I debated this with Matt Cutts, and it's probably the worst idea of my career ever, like getting up and extolling the virtue of paid links for the good of the SEO community. And I still, I think, get pegged as a black hat because of taking that stance, but which is really not the case in any way, shape, or form, other than buying links. The points I always make is, one, that every link is kind of paid for in one way or another, whether you're creating a piece of content or you're doing link bait, or one way or another you're generally paying for that link. And when you have a mortgage site or a credit card site or a finance site, it's really difficult to solicit links without paying for them. Actually, I was having this conversation recently with Rand at SEO Moz, and he basically said, you know what, if Google really wanted to kill paid links, all they have to do is look at the top keywords, the top competitive keywords, and if more than 3 or 4 of those occur on one page, just don't send any value from that page. And that pretty much kills off most of paid linking. I haven't seen that yet anytime soon. I think it's kind of, they definitely work in some regards, but the term paid linking is very broad. You can buy a paid link on a totally off-topic site from a retail link broker, which probably isn't going to do a lot of good. Those have worked in the past, but they tend to not work as much over time. Or you can go direct to a website owner and say, hey, can I buy a link on your site? It's even better if you say, can I buy advertising or something? You can give it a different name other than buying links. To me, it's still always buying links, right? To someone who has come from a background of buying links, it's always going to be buying links. Whether it's public relations, whether it's public outreach, whether it's email, you can call it whatever you want, whether it's business development. To me, it's still link building, or still link buying. So I will probably defend the act of link buying to my grave. But certainly not, buying from retail brokers.
There's also, everybody likes to talk about, what do you prefer, like content or link building? Like these things were separate, right? But then there are also a lot of people that say, oh, I just built really, really good content, and then I don't worry about link building because the links just come naturally, etc.
Sure.
But then there is the anchor text issue.
Yes. Yes.
So
the two major issues there are, one, if I build a really great piece of content, everybody should link to it naturally, and that's kind of the myth that Google perpetuates, I suppose, and is that if you build really great content, people will naturally link to you. It's simply not true, unfortunately. Actually, Gray Wolf, Michael Gray, cites wolf-howl.com. In the last probably 2 months, someone did a guest post about how they basically had 10 articles hit the homepage of Dig and had all this great content and exactly what you were saying, and he demonstrated the fact that I did have all this great content and I still don't have any kind of search rankings, any kind of search traffic. And it was a great, I think, case study of what we all knew of if you have great content and you don't have link building and you don't have outreach, you're going to be like a cornfield, or you're going to be like a billboard in the middle of a cornfield. Nobody's ever going to see it, even if it's the most beautiful, immaculate, elaborate billboard. It's still just nobody's going to see it because it doesn't have any distribution. Whereas if you have a really ugly billboard in the middle of Times Square, at least people are going to see it. So I'll take the ugly site that ranks every time over the great content that doesn't. So.
And here, also in Search Labs at your presentations, you're showing numbers, like how to convince your boss that something is important, and then you said you like to put values for types of links. And like, why is that? And also, how do you get to that value?
Right. So I think especially in a large company, you really have to quantify return, and you really have to put things in quantitative terms. You have to put it in spreadsheets, and you have to put it in PowerPoints in order to convince your boss to get the budget. So I think that's really important. How to go about that with an understanding of link value, you can put a number on that. You can say, what, if we, using the thing I actually like to use retail brokerage link brokerages for, is to say, okay, how much would a PageRank 5, and PageRank isn't a great metric, all the disclaimers, blah, 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 but PageRank 5 link on a mortgage site that has proper anchor text be worth? And if that's $100 a month, then all of a sudden you have a dollar figure to put around that. And so one thing I definitely teach at Market Motive is how to put a dollar figure on any link, regardless of where it is, or just because you're not paying for it does not mean there's not a value to it. So there's certainly still a value, and you have to relate that back to whatever link it is. So you look at metrics like totally unique link. If I'm getting a link from your website, I'm going to look at how many unique linking domains do you have. Where are you going to put it on the page? How many pages? Is it going to go on the entire site, or is it going to go on one page? How many total links do you have? Do you have lots of special links? How on topic are you to my area? So all these are going to play a part into how much value that link is ultimately going to be worth to me. And being able to come up with that and put it in quantitative terms, and then relate that information to your boss somehow, that's the job of in-house SEOs. Most of the time, people that do SEO in a big company have to be great communicators that work between the IT team and the marketing team and can kind of bring the two together. So being a good communicator is just as important as being a good search marketer, I think.
Okay, so thank you, Todd.